I'm proud of my Caribbean heritage, but I sometimes feel that the contributions made by West Indians for this country are often overlooked. It's never easy to leave your homeland, but in 1940, thousands of Caribbeans did. They did it voluntarily and at their own expense to stand shoulder to shoulder and fight alongside Britain in her greatest time of need, the Second World War. Stephen Bourne is an author who has spent years researching the contribution made by West Indians during the conflict. Why did West Indian women and men volunteer to fight in the Second World War?
The West Indies at that time, when the war broke out, was part of the old British Empire. They saw Britain as their mother country.
There are so many of us doing so many different things. In the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, West Indians are fighting for the new world that we all want to see.
There was a shortage of RAF pilots, partly because of the decimation of the RAF during the Battle of Britain of 1940. But many, many came. Over 12,000 joined the RAF during the war.
One of them was Sam King, who was proud and glad to leave his home in Jamaica to fight for his mother country. What was it like when you first came here to England?
I arrived in Greenock, Scotland on the 9th of November.
You went to Scotland, you didn't come to London?
No, you don't come to London. The Germans were bombing down here. I left 80 degrees and I landed in -4 for 2 weeks. And I thought I was going to die. But by the grace of God, we lived.
What was your job?
I decided that I would do repairing aircraft.
It must have been a very difficult thing because the planes were being shot down all the time.
They expect you to work 12 hours night and day to get them repaired and going again. I felt that we did what we should and did, but the nation in general did not give us enough credit. We came, we fought, and we died.
Within 3 years of the war ending, many of the Caribbeans who had served in the armed forces decided they would return to Britain in search of work. On June the 22nd, 1948, the Empire Windrush docked here at Tilbury. It was to become the most important landmark in multicultural British history, as it was to herald the beginning of mass migration to these shores. You could just imagine the apprehension of those people coming off that boat. They had a whole new life awaiting them. But the problem was, times had changed. Britain had changed. During the war, those people had been welcomed with open arms. But all that was different now. Britons wanted the world to go back to the way it was before the war. But that wasn't to be.
In Parliament, there was even a debate as to whether this ship coming over should land, because they were coming with West Indians, who were coming to stay. And they felt it was an invasion.
Coloured people, you can get them all out of the country, and as soon as you can get them out, the better I'll be pleased, I'll tell you that.
Many of the people who came here on the Windrush had nowhere to stay when they arrived, so 230 of them were placed in air raid shelters like these, which were part of the London Underground. Having travelled all that way on the Windrush, being stuck in a boat and then arriving and then being told that this is going to be your home for the next few weeks while they find you accommodation, it must have been awful. And I imagine as well that if you'd fought for your country, you must have been sitting here thinking, surely I deserve better than this. Sam, you were a passenger on the Windrush.
I was a passenger on the Windrush. I had to pay £28, 10 shillings, which was equivalent to 3 cows.
What difficulties did people have when they got here about being accepted?
Accommodation. There was an ad in the paper, room to let. When we got there, it says, no Irish, no blacks, no dogs.
How would you like it if a house next door to you was taken by a coloured person and became filled to bursting point with all his relations and his friends and so on and so forth?
There was blatant racism in the sense that they'd be told to their faces that they weren't wanted. But these men and women were resilient. I suppose even prepared to take lower jobs than they were qualified for, work their way up. And that's what they actually did. They had no choice.
One way of seeing the voyage of the Windrush is as a journey towards racial acceptance. Those servicemen who arrived here aboard the Windrush and the many that followed all played a vital role in creating a new concept, of what it means to be British. We're in Windrush Square in Brixton. How proud does it make you feel to be
Let me
here?
feel that I contributed a little. I'm not proud because our people came. We run your buses, we clean your hospitals, and we help rebuild Britain. And today it's not bad. Look at those pigeons out there.